Hey guys, great to see you. Joe here, and welcome to another lesson, and thanks very much indeed for joining me. So there you heard a blues in E in the style of Lightning Hopkins, let's say. It's very reminiscent of the type of blues he might play. And it's, as I say, in the key of E. Now this is a key that we've looked at and spent a great deal of time working on. So if you've seen any of my previous lessons, you're going to be familiar with a lot of this type of stuff, and I will fill in the details anyhow as we go along in the lesson. But in this lesson, I'd like to take a look at the different ways in which you can play a blues, because it's often the details that make things shine, if you like. If you have those details right, then it can really help your playing. So what we're going to take a look at are the different ways in which we can use our left and right hand in a dampening situation to create various feels within a song. Now, if we stick with the kind of Lightning Hopkins way of doing things, you're going to be familiar with this blues, this E blues, as I say, if you've watched any of my previous lessons. Now, Lightning Hopkins lets all the notes ring out as a rule, so there's no dampening taking place. It's just this type of feel, which is nice. So all kind of free and easy, and there's not too much for us to think about. We can just strum it and play it without thinking too much. So that's the way he generally covered this type of thing. There wasn't really much dampening to think about within his style of playing. Now, the other way in which we can change the feel of a song is by using the palm of our hand. Now, I've touched on this many times before, so we won't spend too long on this. Suffice it to say that we just rest the palm on the strings and we play the same thing, and it has a completely different sound, yeah? So it's all dampened. And if we go to the A, it doesn't matter where we go, because the palm of our hand is on the strings. It's just dampening all those strings. Now, the other way in which we can do this is by using a combination of our right and left hand to dampen. And this is perhaps one of the most interesting ways, and something that I find myself doing a lot more. Some players were kind of quite renowned for doing this, people like Robert Johnson and many other people as well, whereby the right hand is playing the same thing, but the thumb is going back on the strings very quickly. And as well as the thumb going back on the strings to dampen them, the strings that are being fretted, the fingers on my left hand are also doing a kind of dance. You know, they're coming on and off, so they're applying pressure when it needs to be heard, and then just slightly coming off, so if you played it you wouldn't get any sound other than that. So by combining the two, we have this. So the one that the thumb doesn't dampen, the left hand dampens. So let's take a look at those three different styles, starting with the Lightning Hopkins type of style, where it's ringing out. And so we can differentiate between all three. So we have number 1. So you get the idea, yeah? It's very straightforward. Okay, so that's his approach. Now, if we use the palm method, then we'll have this sound. I'll just condense it. We'll go through the chords a little bit quicker. Okay, so that's where we're dampening with our palm, and then we have this other method which I've mentioned, which is the combination of the right and the left hand. Okay, so as you can hopefully hear the difference between those three, and don't worry too much if you can't, because it is quite a subtle difference. Some of them are more kind of obvious than others, but you know, don't worry too much if you do struggle to hear the differences. Just try and incorporate some of that practice. When you're practicing your blues, try those 3 different styles, and you know, you can also combine all 3 within a song. So you're doing a little bit of open where it's ringing out with a little bit of, you know, the dampened palm. And you'll find that you'll then start incorporating little bits of each style into your own arrangements, and they will become more yours. You know, it's these small little details which make all the difference. Now, that was one of the main things I wanted to cover. Now, we know that when we're playing a blues like this, it can sound good, and it can sound very good, in fact. But generally speaking, once you've done it for a while, you want to try and take the next step. And that's what we took a look at in a few lessons back, whereby we could play a rhythm and add, even if it was just a note, as we were playing our blues. Yeah, we took a look at that. So, as you can hear throughout this one when I was playing it, it does really move that blues on a little bit when you can play a rhythm and add the top as well. Even if it's just, it sounds good. And so the way to do that is when we're playing this blues, we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, and those upstrokes are always on an and. So if you were counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, any of those ands are going to work, okay? But generally speaking, you might start doing it after the 4. It gives you plenty of time to know when it's coming along. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Okay, so that's the way to kind of start getting into that, and that's very much the easiest little thing to put in there compared to, say, you know, then that might be the next stage. And they're all, what the thing about all these little nuances, if you like, are that they're all happening, many of them at least are happening when it's an offbeat. Yeah, so that's what's giving it its kind of charm in some sense. So I'm fairly confident that you're going to be happy with this E and A to B. Now, just for your own interest, when Lightning Hopkins plays a B7, he actually places his thumb over the top on the 2nd fret and plays the 6th string on the 2nd fret. So you have, he's playing an F sharp in the bass basically, yeah, like so. because that doesn't always occur with the blues that we've looked at. So if you're looking to do something similar to what we've done, then he goes to an A7. And this is a nice feel to get this thumb and index finger. Play that a couple of times for you slowly so you can work on this. It's another one of these offbeat things. And the little lick I've tapped out for you because it's probably easier for you to pick it up that way. It's just landing on the B7. Yeah, and then essentially you've got the basis there of rhythmic blues that you can kind of work on, and then you can start trying to add these, which we've looked at in many different videos. So hopefully that helps you guys, and just bear in mind those different techniques for dampening, playing something open without any dampening at all, and then playing it with a bit of palm dampening, and then experimenting with the right and left hand dampening, because this will really help your playing. So I hope that helps you guys, and I look forward to seeing you with another lesson soon, and thanks very much indeed for watching.